Midlife women aren't avoiding sex. They're avoiding pain, disappointment, and dryness. If your female partner has decided that the bedroom is off limits for the two of you, this video is for you. I'm Karen Bigman, certified sex educator, menopause coach, and midlife sexpert, and I have seen and heard a lot. Women are not giving up on sex necessarily. Sometimes they do, but the reasons that they do may or may not have to do with you. Let's start with reason number one that midlife women give up sex. Menopause. Yes, it can start as early as their late 30s. Women start to lose estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and it affects all sorts of systems in their body. And most importantly, when it comes to sex, their libido may really be affected by testosterone. I know that that was one of my issues. It wasn't that I didn't want sex. It was that I couldn't have an orgasm. So my sex just wasn't fun. It was labor. It was like I had to keep going and going and going. It wasn't working, and it had to do with my testosterone being done. 2, maybe she's emotional, also hormonally related, because the hormones are going so wacky in her body. She just doesn't feel like it. She may be depressed. She's not sleeping. She's getting angry. She doesn't know why. Her life feels like it's completely all over the place, and she's very stressed. The last thing on her mind is going to be sex. 3, maybe you've been having the same sex over and over and over and over for the length of your marriage, and she just doesn't get excited about it anymore. It's very possible that you thought that's what she wanted because she didn't give you the right signals. Maybe she's faking orgasms. Maybe she kind of enjoys it and just says, well, it's another thing I need to do as a responsibility to my partner. But if the sex is boring, or maybe it's bad sex, maybe it's uncomfortable sex, maybe she's having pain and she's afraid to tell you, then that could be a real reason she's avoiding it. And it could really have to do at the base of it with communicating to you that that is an issue. So if you don't know what the problem is, how can you possibly fix it? So what I would do if I were you and you want to have a sexual relationship with your partner and you love your female partner and she keeps rejecting you because you're going to get very upset about it, talk to her. Do not let this fester, because the longer you go without sex, the longer you go without intimacy, the harder it is to bring each other together. So let's start with possible changes. You don't want to say, honey, you're a hot mess, you're depressed, you've been screaming, you've been angry, go get some hormones. Not the right way to do it. Perhaps the conversation starts more like this. We used to have a really nice, intimate relationship. Kids came along, changes in midlife. Let's talk about how maybe we can get back to that, because we're not always going to be in this stage of life. Now, it may start with a medical evaluation to see whether her hormones are off and adding some hormone replacement therapy, adding some testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, so that she starts to balance out and is not so like all over the map. It may be that you need to learn to communicate better. Just having the conversation about sex, just bringing up the fact that it's bothering you and that you want to keep having sex, but she's rejecting you, just bringing up that conversation to begin with can be very tough. So perhaps it's worth bringing in a specialist. Now, you can go for a relationship therapist, a relationship coach, and or a sex therapist. A sex therapist is going to have done some training to really understand how things work physically in the body and how to help you have conversations, because many therapists are uncomfortable with the conversation around sex. So you may find a good relationship therapist, but they don't really bring up what's going on in your sex life, particularly if there are things like the sex you're having is not great. So if it's the sex you're having that's either boring or it's just perfunctory, it's just not good, there are so many things. I have my adult sex education class. There are tons of podcast episodes. There is so much information around there about ways that you can spice up your sex life, but it may take a little to get your partner to really want to engage. I know that I didn't even know what a vibrator, I knew I'd heard of vibrators, but I didn't learn about them until I was in my 50s, and I learned about it in a doctor's office who told me to go try it. It was the same doctor that gave me the testosterone. So maybe introducing that very slowly, or talking about introducing it, because I know for me, I need a vibrator to help me have an orgasm. It doesn't matter how amazing my partner is in bed, and I do not have to have an orgasm every time, but it is very enjoyable. But the only way for me to get there is with some sort of vibration. So that very well may change your sex life exponentially. And finally, if she's having pain with sex, that could be so many reasons that are causing it. There can be physical reasons like hormone issues. There can also be some trauma that she's never addressed that's starting to come out later in life. That can often happen. It can be that it hurt once and she's so afraid of it that she doesn't want to do it again. And so she just like clams up and says, I don't want sex anymore. I know it's going to hurt. And again, there are solutions. But I think the first thing you want to do is to communicate. Not communicate, we don't have any sex anymore, this sucks, but really, I love you, honey. I loved our sex life when we first met. Maybe we can't get back exactly to that, but let's talk about how we can start to re-engage with each other.